Would you mind sharing a bit about yourself? A little bit about originally from where and
Sure.
what brings us together
Sure.
today.
I'm a recently retired 23-year naval aviator. I grew up in northern Kentucky, a suburb of Cincinnati, Ohio. Went to the University of Notre Dame on a Navy ROTC scholarship, and so my repayment for my scholarship was to serve as a naval aviator. So I had a great adventure flying F-18s for the Navy, including a tour with the U.S. Navy Blue Angels. I was the number 2 pilot for them for 3 years and flew in the air show here at Kaneohe Bay in 2012 and also
I must have seen
and at Hickam in 2014. So I actually met my wife in Waikiki when I was here for that show, and now we are so blessed to make this our home, and I'm excited about this new role.
Well, first of all, we could spend about 7 or 8 hours just on the first sentence you gave to us, and I love that. We were talking sports. Got to give you your pro teams.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Cincinnati, so I'm a Reds and Bengals fan. When you're talking pro sports, I think like every basketball player, because I grew up a basketball player. I was a Bulls fan in the '90s, so pretty easy to root for Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
excited about the future there, and then on the college side, a big fan of the University of Notre Dame.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: is there a cross section between sports, military service, and the elements of the both?
You bet.
Yeah.
You bet. That was one question when we were interviewing new candidates to fly for the Blue Angels. I always like to ask if they had a sports background, because what we find is in order to take somebody from never having flown a Blue Angels plane before and getting them ready to fly in our first air show, there's just a lot of growth that has to happen, a lot of critiques, a lot of constructive criticism. Some of it can be very pointed and direct. And if you've played on a team sport before, you're used to being coached, you're used to being criticized, and you can accept that and grow from it and know that none of this is personal. And so we found that the people that had sports backgrounds really took to that level of coaching that we needed. And so a huge crossover, and I think I'm really lucky to have had some great mentors along the way that helped set me up for that level of success.
How long from the transition of serving? How long has it been?
I retired on March 1st of this year, and I started with the museum in June. So it was a quick transition, but
Yep.
I found my inspiration for flying at museums just like the Pearl Harbor Aviation Museum. And so that moment of inspiration has carried me through all of my adult life. And so to be able to be in this role now and give back to the community and provide that level of inspiration is really important to me. My only challenge to the staff was on day one. I said, we will have an open cockpit of a fighter jet every day. So when you come to the Pearl Harbor Aviation Museum, you'll always be able to sit in the cockpit of a fighter jet and have that great experience.
Talking with John Hiltz, and it's appropriate that we're together because John is now the CEO, if I'm not mistaken, first ever.
Yes, I think they transitioned the role to make sure that it encompasses everything that we're doing at the Pearl Harbor Aviation Museum. It's more than a museum. We just recently launched a new program called Aviation Pathways, and it's a workforce development program for Hawaii, creating new pilots and new aviation mechanics. We'll be starting our third cohort this fall for the pilots. We do 20 pilots every year and take them all the way up to their private pilot's license for Hawaii youth from 16 to 21. And then we've got a new program for an A&P. It's an aviation mechanics certification. You'll spend, it's open to high school juniors, and you'll spend Monday through Thursday with us at the museum learning about aviation mechanics, power plants. And then and Fridays you'll spend at your high school, and then you'll graduate. We've got a partnership with Hawaiian Airlines, and you'll be offered a job to work as an aviation mechanic for Hawaiian Airlines. So this is a direct give back program. So that's why I was so excited about this role, that we are more than just the Pearl Harbor Aviation Museum. We are a workforce development partner for the island.
We're talking with John Hiltz. He is the CEO of Pearl Harbor Aviation Museum, 8:47 in the morning. I had an opportunity with Brother Mike Perry to take a tour last year and to see the facilities, to see the expansiveness of opportunity that's being provided. But one thing that was very compelling was the vantage points that we are now afforded in literally seeing the battleground of Pearl Harbor.
Absolutely. I mean, we are America's World War II aviation battleground. The first bombs of World War II fell on Ford Island on our grounds, and you can still see the bullet holes in our historic hangars. We have 2 historic hangars and an operations building. We recently, with support of U-Haul, refurbished the operational tower, the control tower. You can ride up there and get a vantage point that you can only get at our museum. It's an incredible way to take in the full experience. But it's sacred ground, it's hallowed ground, and I'm really lucky to work with the team there to be a great steward for this historic place.
I'm not sure of the source, but it was reported that Pearl Harbor Aviation Museum is recognized as the premier #1 aviation museum in the country.
Yes, Travel and Leisure magazine released the top 10 aviation museums in America, and we were the #1 on their list. And I couldn't agree more. Just based on the historic grounds that we're on, and nowhere else can you walk on a battlefield like you can from World War II in America. And I think we want to honor that legacy, and one way we want to do that is to allow more people to come and see us. We've got a great event coming up over Labor Day weekend. It's going the base commander has opened the door, and we'll have a concert there on August 30th. Gary Sinise, the Lieutenant Dan Band, is going to be there. We've got the biggest little air show taking place on the Ford Island runway. So it's a special place, and we were honored to get that ranking by Travel and Leisure magazine. And I hope many people take advantage of that opportunity to come visit us.
If we can chat just a moment about attending, accessing, can you share the Kama Aina method and what to do, and for our visitors of their best way?
You bet. On an average day for that air show, I think that is kind of what you mean. So the gates are going to be open. You just have to register in advance to get a ticket, and it'll be the same process for Kama Aina and for visitors on that weekend. On any other given day, anyone with military base access can always drive their car right to our museum. We've got plenty of parking, and that's easy to do. But that weekend, you'll register for the event, and then you'll be able to drive your car right onto Ford Island and park on the runway, and then walk over to all the events that are happening at both our museum and the USS Missouri, commemorating the 80th end of World War II.
This is amazing. For regular access, say day-to-day.
Day-to-day, yeah.
And you do not have military.
Right.
Is there still a shuttle that
Absolutely.
will pick you up?
Yeah, there's the Royal Star of Hawaii is our shuttle partner. Okay. You'll drive to the USS Arizona Memorial, which is a national park. You can park there, and we make it very easy for people to jump on the bus, and the bus takes you both to the Pearl Harbor Aviation Museum as well as the USS Missouri. So it's pretty seamless, and we find a lot of visitors want to see all of the sites down there. There's a passport program. And then we also offer membership. So if you buy a membership, you can come as a guest of our museum free for the rest of the year. Right. So it pays for itself in 2 visits. So a lot of different ways to get there, but the shuttle from the USS Arizona is the typical way that most of our guests arrive.
The perspective that you have, and once again, John Hiltz with us, CEO, is very valuable to a lot of us. And that perspective, I'll ask, is from the beginning of military service to your transition to CEO. What is your assessment of the national opinion of military men, women, and families that serve?
Right.
And what do you see a path that we're on? We're in 2025, perhaps moving forward, given our global circumstance.
Absolutely. I think events like this 80th commemoration are an important way to both honor our past and connect our youth in America with America's military. This is a chance for people to come onto an active base and understand what the military looks like and what they do. That connection is really important. What we increasingly see is, and I'm glad you mentioned families, because it is a family affair when a service member joins. I'm the oldest of 3 brothers, and all 3 of my brothers served, and I'm proud to have served with them. But it is a family affair, and I want more American families to have that exposure and have that that spark of inspiration. So when their son or daughter or cousin says, "Hey, I'm thinking about serving in the military," the family supports that because they can be so proud of what they're going to defend for us. That can't be from just 1% of the population. More people have to be involved in that. And so connected events like this really helped to do that. And that's why I'm grateful to Captain White, the Joint Base Pearl Harbor Commander, for agreeing to and opening the gate of the base for this particular event.
Yeah, I think it's just, I agree with you 100%. As much exposure and one-on-one, in-person, touch, feel, tactile is very, each time I go to the Aviation Museum, you're just reminded of the import, and more importantly, at least, is the sacrifices
absolutely
that have been made on our behalf
yes.
to be able to live the lives we do. I'll give just a quick example.
Please.
Is that on December 7th, I would broadcast from Pearl Harbor. And I did 1 year, one program where I had a very special guest. As a child, he was unfortunately impacted by the attacks, and he was recounting and sharing a story. We got a call into our studio, and the caller, I didn't take calls during that, but I was told, take this call. The caller turned out to be the guest's best friend growing up.
Whoa.
Who happened to be of Japanese ancestry. And the other gentleman, he's a haole guy.
Yes.
Local style. And the first time they had ever connected, even knew that either one was still alive, happened at that moment.
I've got chicken skin thinking about it.
I'm doing it again because it was one of the most incredible moments, but it personalized. We were there, of course. There's tremendous protocol, process, procedure, but to hear the two voices,
it is that level of connection is the kind of thing that happens at a place like the Pearl Harbor Aviation Museum. We have a 102-year-old veteran. He was a B-24 flight engineer, and those are some of the most dangerous missions in aviation in World War II. And he comes down to our museum typically twice a week to still tell his stories. We've got a lot of recordings from eyewitnesses that day. You can sit on a bench in our rooftop terrace overlooking our grounds and press a button and hear the voices of people that lived through that day and the days after it. It's a special place that connects people, and your story is an example of how powerful those connections can be.
It really is, without a doubt. We have about 4 minutes or so remaining. I know that we've covered some ground, but I'd like to turn it over to you for a moment because I want to make sure that we're apprised of all that you want us to know. So, John?
Yeah, I think the biggest reason that I took this job, obviously there's lots of aviation jobs in the world. Many people go and that are from my background, flying F-18s with a bunch of flight time, go to the airlines or go to another museum. The reason I was excited about this is our growth. We are about to undertake some renovations of these 2 historic hangars that are on our grounds. We're growing, as I mentioned, that Aviation Pathways program that really signifies that we're more than just caretakers of history, that we're growing, and we want to enable people to go make their own history. And that's an exciting aspect. So that growth is really exciting. And the best way you can come experience that is come visit our museum, and we're so excited to have the base open for the 80th commemoration of the end of World War II in partnership with the USS Missouri. But we're going to have the biggest little air show there, so you can see RC airplanes taking off from the historic Ford Island runway. You can stick around afterwards for the Lieutenant Dan Band concert with Gary Sinise. All these events are completely free to the both visitors and Kama'aina. It's going to be a really exciting weekend for people to come down, experience the museum, see the kind of exhibits we have. We're the only aviation museum in the world that has versions of all 3 of the aircraft that attacked Ford Island on the morning of December 7th, 1941. And I think it's just a very unique place to come visit. On a personal note, we also have a Blue Angel F-18 that I flew when I was on the team there, so that's a fun one for me to be able to give tours and walk around and interact with our guests, telling them the stories about that exact airplane. But we've got airplanes from every realm of the history of aviation, including a unique civilian airplane that was flying in the air on the morning of December 7th, 1941. It was a delivery service airplane, and that the person flying that plane saw the the Japanese heroes coming and landed as quickly as they can, and we were able to acquire that aircraft for our collection. So we've got a lot of unique stories to tell, and I'm so proud to be a part of the team that is there to tell them.
It's going to be phenomenal, and I love the open invitation.
Yes.
I know we're just mid-July, but December is going to be here in about 10 minutes.
Yes.
The Gala?
Yes. The For Love of Country Gala will be December 6th this year, just due to the date, and that's will be an exciting time. We're focusing on not just fundraising, but fundraising this year. It's going to be a great event, my first event, and we are obviously looking for sponsors and for people to come and get involved with that. The event takes place in our historic Hangar 79 with a B-17 called the Swamp Ghost that we brought back from the swamps and the jungles of Papua New Guinea. So it takes place right next to it. It's an incredible event, and just another way for people to get involved with our museum. Well, I got to say, put the date down. Yes, now. December 6th. We'd love to host as many people as we can get there, obviously. Right.